Welcome. We got to get into it, y'all. Welcome back to Four Wolves Takes, where your boy Artis Woods will bring you 4 fresh Minnesota Timberwolves takes. Listen, man, I'm not going to lie. The energy is not as high today because these last 3 games have been rough. They've been rough. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. This is my first time coming before you guys since the Wolves were up 2-0, looking unbeatable almost, dare I say, especially defensively. They were looking incredible. Offensively, shots were falling. The Nuggets looked frustrated. Didn't know if Jamal Murray would get suspended for a game or fined or whatever for throwing a heating pad and a towel on the court. Mike Malone looked flustered in his interviews. I mean, it looked like you had the defending champs on the ropes. And then game 3 happened. I mean, I guess we kind of expected that. I didn't expect the sweep. So, okay, Denver, that's their punchback. As Anthony Edwards would say, that is their punchback, a blowout win in Minnesota. No way they blow a second game. No way they blow a second game in Minnesota. And sure enough, it happens. They lose game 4 in Minnesota. Anthony Edwards goes off for somewhere around 44 points. No one else shows up. Denver shoots incredible from the field and three-point line. I'm talking Steph Curry numbers and Shaq numbers in the paint, both in their primes. Close to 45% from the 3, 57% from the field. Unbelievable to watch. Unbelievable to watch. And then you got game 5. I don't even know where to begin. The 3 offensive charges. Anthony Edwards not playing well. Jokic unguardable. like, let's get into these takes. Listen, y'all, I have confidence that the Wolves can still make this happen. But I'm not going to act like I'm not nervous. It's not over till it's over. But I'm not going to act like I'm not nervous. There are 4 things that need to happen in order for them to pull this off, win game 6, push it to game 7, and still win this series. It's still on the table. It's not over till it's over. But these 4 things, in my opinion, need to happen, starting with take number 1. I just got to get right to it. I got to get right into it, y'all. I got to get right into it. This is an accountability session for myself and for the team because I thought this series was over when they went up 2-0. Yes, I was a part of that crowd. I said it was over. And man, so I got to get right to it. Rudy and Kyle Anderson cannot be tasked with guarding Jokic. They cannot be tasked with guarding Jokic. Kyle Anderson, honestly, a little slow, not as mobile, not as quick. Doesn't have a ton of length or a ton of height to bother Jokic. Doesn't have a ton of mass really either to bother Jokic. Jokic blows right by him. He posts him right up. It's easy buckets. Outside of, I want to say game 2 where Kyle poked the ball from behind and got a steal. Outside of that, I have not seen him make a play defensively on Jokic. Rudy Gobert, Defensive Player of the Year. It is hard for me to say what I'm going to say, but he's getting fried. Like he's Jokic is having his way. Now, granted, Jokic is going to have his way with most players. That's just Jokic. He killed AD. You know, he's gone off on great defensive players. Embiid, he's gone off on great defensive bigs, superstar bigs. We know this. But to my eye, if you have any chance at remotely slowing him down, the matchup has to be Karl-Anthony Towns and Naz Reid. Those are the 2 guys I want on Jokic all game long. And we just got to hope that these guys don't get in foul trouble. Obviously, Rudy Gobert is the next in line, in my opinion. But Coach Finch made an adjustment, moved Rudy Gobert on Aaron Gordon, and I actually like that matchup a lot more. I like that. Now, Denver's going to search for that switch because they are taking advantage of Rudy Gobert and the Jokic matchup. But in most cases, I want those two players guarding Jokic. They're quicker. They are faster. They still have length and mass to bother Jokic from time to time. They can get blocks. They can be, I feel, a little more physical. Jokic is still going to be Jokic, but if you have a chance at slowing him down whatsoever, I think those are going to have to be the two guys. Kyle Anderson and Rudy are not getting it done. We got to call it spade a spade, and it's bad. It is bad. Jokic just knows how to score on him, man. Defensive player of the year. Jokic just knows how to score on him. No matter what Rudy does, it's never enough. The second take, listen, again, accountability session. Ant has to be better. Anthony Edwards is a superstar in this league. I made the case, I believe last episode, that I believe by the end of this playoff run, Anthony Edwards would be in conversations for best player in the world. Not face of the league because he's already there, but there's a difference between face of the league and best player in the world. I think it's still a possibility, but he has to be better. Game 3, I kind of let slide because, again, Denver was bound to punch back. They were undefeated. The Wolves were undefeated. They hadn't lost the game yet. They were due for a letdown game. It happened. Hey, Anthony Edwards said after the game, hey, I didn't have energy. I didn't have it tonight. I'll make sure I make up for it next game. And he came out next game and dropped like 44. Okay. But game 5 cannot happen. It cannot happen. We're comparing him to Michael Jordan. We're comparing him to Kobe Bryant, to LeBron James, all of these legends. Whether it's fair or not, Anthony Edwards ain't shooting it down. He like, it's high praise, but hey, I believe in myself. I believe I'm there. I can get there, XYZ. He's talking trash to Jamal Murray. You know, I like when y'all talk. Keep it going. I like that. And then you come out the following game and lay an egg. Now I understand, hey, he was getting double teamed all night. It made it tough. Mike Conley not being there also hurts because you're in front of the defense the entire game. Mike Conley's one of the main ball handlers. I personally think Monte Morris should have got a little bit more playing time, but that's just me, just as another ball handler to take the ball out of Ant's hands a bit so he could play a bit behind the defense from time to time. But I still looked and saw an Ant that just was not aggressive at times. Sometimes it's not about how many points you score. Sometimes it's about the moments in which you score the points. Even if it's inefficient, it's the moments. There were times in game 5 where he could have got momentum swinging buckets, stop the bleeding type buckets, and he was passive. He had opportunities to split double teams, to attack double teams before they get there, to bend the corner, and he just looked passive. He missed a couple shots to start and wasn't the same. Again, love Anthony Edwards, superstar in this league, one of the best players in this league. You got to hold him accountable. We can't compare him to these greats and not hold him accountable. I do think he will be better, but in order for the Wolves to have a shot, he has to be game 4, Anthony Edwards, probably 2 more times. Going on to take number 3. I think you need to use Cat and Naz Reid to draw Aaron Gordon away from the basket. Meaning, I think you need to play 5 out. Which brings me back to Rudy Gobert. Listen, y'all. I think that for this elimination game and possibly a game 7, Coach Finch, the coaching staff, should think about cutting some of Rudy Gobert's minutes back. 1, because he's not a big-time offensive threat that can stretch the defense out. 2, because he's the defensive player of the year, but he's not playing like it. We've seen Aaron Gordon go off. We've seen Jokic go off. These are 2 really good players, but if Jokic is just going to have his way, then that means offensively you have to match that. Anthony Edwards is getting double-teamed and triple-teamed and things of that nature. The best way to open the floor with him, especially if Mike somehow can't play for game 6, is to play 5-out offense. Spread them out. It's more one-on-one ball. And if you double-team, then I'll find an open shooter on the perimeter. 5 shooters on the floor. That's what I would try. Again, if somebody leaves the corners, that's a wide open 3 for Cat or a wide open 3 for Naz Reid. I'm not saying you bench Rudy. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I think you should cut the minutes back and play Naz Reid more. I think he needs to play more. Long as he stays out of foul trouble, I think he needs to play more and have more opportunities. He's been playing a touch better defensively, and he can shoot the ball from the outside. Just saying, it's a thought. I know you don't want to take out the defensive player of the year, but it is a thought. It is do or die. Last take of the day. We need more from our role players. Someone other than Karl-Anthony Towns, someone other than Anthony Edwards is going to have a day in Game 6 and potentially Game 7 in order to pull this off. Let me rephrase. I think at least for Game 6 to get to a Game 7, whether it be Mike Conley, hopefully he plays, whether it be Jaden McDaniels, who was just on the graphic, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I mean, you just go down the numbers of this series. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, he had a 14-point game. Then you got 6. You got 2. Yeah, 6, 2, and then 14 again. He played decent last game. But you need a bit more. Jaden McDaniels, don't get me started. Offensively, I just think Jaden needs to be more aggressive. He's efficient from the field. Games 2 and 3, he shot 50% or over. Games, 5 and 1, he shot lower than 50%. But in most cases, when he shoots the ball, he's efficient. I just think he needs to be more aggressive and have more confidence in his shot, have more confidence attacking the basket. I think they need Jaden. We've seen Jaden go off in the regular season this year and last year at times. This will be a great time for Jaden McDaniels to have a day. Naz Reid. Look, man, Naz Reid is the 6th man of the year. 2 words, Naz Reid, the 6th man of the year. We need more from Naz Reid. I don't think enough people are talking about that right now, but we need more from Naz Reid. 7 points, 11 points, 7 points, had a really good game 1. But we're going to need more from Naz in order to win this series. Again, 6th man of the year. He's not shooting the ball well from the three-point line as of late. At least last game, he was 0 of 3. I know he was in foul trouble as well, but these are not 6th man of the year numbers. Now, again, just like I said about Jaden McDaniels, Naz Reid has the ability to go off. We have seen it. One of these guys got to follow Cat and Anthony Edwards. It is the only way you get out of this series with a dub. Now, again, it's not over till it's over, y'all. I know a lot of people want to count the Wolves out, but let me put something on y'all mind. I, for one, thought it was over when the Wolves went up 2-0. A lot of people think right now it's over with the Nuggets up 3-2. Both could be wrong. Both could be wrong. While the Wolves are still around and still alive in this postseason, they have Anthony Edwards, a superstar. They do have the defensive player of the year. They have their 6th man of the year. And they have another all-star in Karl-Anthony Towns surrounded by solid talent. They can still win this series. They can still pull this out. Guys got to perform. Thank y'all for tuning in to this week's episode of 4 Wolves Takes. Hopefully next time I see you, the Wolves are still alive in this playoffs and in the Western Conference Finals. Until next time, good luck.